supply chain issues are always happening. It's very easy to hit the supply chain. I mean, there's a lot of different things we've spoken about before. The drought in Panama, not going to go too much into it, but essentially to ship items, the Panama Canal is one of the main, it's one of the main shipping routes to pass items through because it essentially is a big shortcut. And Panama is facing a lot of droughts, and you need a good amount of water for the canal to essentially function to allow you to get the items across. So when you have the drought, you're able to get less items through, so there's shipping delays. So a lot of Jamaican companies, if they are, say, a manufacturer, they import items into Jamaica, or even if you export, because of these delays in shipping, sometimes they're running out of supplies. So Kingston Wharves, naturally, as a shipping company, is going to sometimes face issues. Maybe they're expecting a shipment in, and it's just going to be delayed by a few weeks or maybe even a few months, depending. And maybe sometimes someone wants it to export from there. Maybe they had a ship that was supposed to leave, but then because the Panama Canal is backlogged, the ship can't leave, or the ship is just waiting there. So, shipping, there are lots of supply chain issues going on. And even recently, there was like this strike that happened for 3 days on the east coast of the United States that shut down the ports, so many ports, and that was reportedly to like cause US to lose billions of dollars, I think a week or even a day. I think they only ended up striking for 3 days because they found some sort of middle ground somewhat, but it's only temporary apparently because they still are in negotiations, and it may last up until mid-January. And if they don't come with another deal, you may see more strikes, more shipping delays. But one of the things I'd say that's interesting, if you look at Kingston Wharves, and we'll pull it up when we go into the Excel sheets, like even despite 2020, which was a big time for supply chain issues, they were still able to, be quite profitable. So I don't think it's gonna affect them necessarily as seriously. Like they still, I think, will be able to get enough business even through times of big supply chain issues. They've been able to, maintain their revenues and profits somewhat. But yeah, it's still something to mention. It's something that if I was a person investing in Kingston Wharves, I'd be trying to look into things like that. And there's even other stuff like, there's like a trade war going on between China and a lot of countries now, like the US, I think the
Yeah,
UK, like they're saying, oh, they're
that's
putting in
been
these
going on for
tariffs. Yeah, so like I
ages,
guess that's
though.
been,
Yeah.
more recently I've been seeing some escalation because I know that
Mm.
it's like China's been has been pushing electric vehicles, and then the government has been subsidizing a lot of the countries or the companies, so they're making really cheap electric vehicles, way cheaper than like the US or the UK can make it because of the subsidy and their cheap energy. And so it makes it's, I guess, for the US and the UK side, they're like, hey, but we have these businesses that are manufacturing electric vehicles. Who's going to want to buy an electric vehicle? Yeah, it's the Chinese one could essentially be 30% cheaper, 40% cheaper. Like, why would someone do that when it could be still a good quality one? So they're trying to like put in the tariffs to then raise the price so that it's somewhat equal. So yeah, there's just a lot of supply chain stuff. I'd probably try to read on stuff like that if I was invested, I guess, in Kingston Wharves. Another thing to look at is